You're absolutely right, with the exception of the purposes that we oppose the plan, which people have a right to their own opinion, and that happens apparently to be mine and Jim's and Mr. Rose, and like you said, 4,000 other people, which was 55% of the community. And the purposes, I think, that we're all trying to get to and solve, the purpose of the problem that we're trying to solve is to accomplish all the issues that you've been talking about, and that's solve the school space needs at an affordable price. And the biggest problem I have is, all during these discussions, nobody has brought in the operational and maintenance cost that it's going to cost this community. Now, earlier this evening, if you remember, we're talking about the new growth revenues probably are going to be in the decrease, and they've been added into the tax levy limit, which reflects our operational budget. The problem I see is the cost to operate this new school, which will be adding another building to our list. I think we've got 5 now, we'll be adding a 6th building. When we add the 6th building to our fleet, we also add a cost factor of about $350,000 to operate it and maintain it. And my problem is, where do we get the $350,000 that hasn't been answered yet to operate and maintain the building? And then not only do we have to operate and maintain the new building, but we still have to renovate the old building. So we're looking at whatever the cost is, and I don't know what it is. I don't think anybody really knows. FUMP, the school committee, the building committee, nobody really knows. But there's a cost going to be borne by the taxpayers to renovate the bachelor school again. So now we have an operational and maintenance cost of the new school, an operational and maintenance cost of the bachelor school, whether we renovate it or we don't renovate it. If in fact we do renovate it, that's another override question for another proposition override that we're going to have to come in and ask the people to support again. And I think what we're doing in a roundabout way is enlarging our cost to such a degree that there's no possible way to fund all the programs. And I have to think that a lot of the people that have become in a position where they're apt to lose their homes have voted in opposition because they're out of money. And that's a legitimate reason to vote no on something when you don't have any money. I don't think people are necessarily voting, nor am I, against the Swan Pond School just because we're voting against the school. They're voting against it because there's a reason involved, and the reason is the affordability of the thing. They just don't have the finances to do it. We're all hurting. There's an economic slowdown in the country. There's people losing their jobs. Gasoline is anticipated to go to $3 a gallon by the end of the year. The light bills are going up. Cost of materials for everything you buy are going up. And their taxes are going to go up. And I think they're saying, you know, we'd like to do something, and I agree that they would like to do something. And I personally think that the thing that they want to do, that the something that they want to do is keep the school where it is, renovate it with the least amount of expense, and still do what's necessary to meet all the building needs, to meet the state standards, to meet the school needs, and provide everything that's needed for the children of the community. And there's just so many diverse areas. There's people that like to keep open space. There's people that think it's too far out of town. There's people that think the schools are going to cut out busing next year. There's people that think they can't afford bus user fees. There's so many things that play into the equation that I think that's why the Swan Pond School gets beat. There's just too many different areas and too many groups of people that add up to a big number that defeats the school. And if that's the case, then if in fact CCP or whatever other group that might come forward with an alternative plan to the problem that's acceptable to the whole community, it should be looked at. I'm not saying this is going to get defeated, and I'm not saying it's going to win. It's like Jim has always said, people are going to go into the voting booth and vote whatever their option is that they choose to vote on. If they vote successfully to build a Swan Pond, then you can bet I'll get behind the project and say, well, okay, they voted it that way, let's get on with it and do whatever we got to do. I don't agree to do that. That's not my position. My position is to keep the school in the center of town, because that's where I think number one it belongs. I think we can do it at a more affordable price, and affordable to probably everybody in the community, and it meets everybody's concerns. So that's the only reason. I don't think we should, once again, I don't think we should be battling it out. whether we should or we shouldn't, it's entirely up to the voters. I mean, you know that as well as I do, that they'll make their decision when they go into the polling booth. I think it's up to this board, as a board of selectmen, to bring out everybody's opinions and represent everybody's feelings. I just know I've lived here an awful long time, probably longer than anybody in the town, and I've met so many people that are really financially strung out. And I hear it from them, and it's my position as a member of the board, if there's enough of them, that I have to represent their position as well as the people that want the school. So all I'm doing is looking at it from both areas. I'm representing the majority of the will of the people, and that's where I'm coming from. So that's about it.
Just in relation to that, you know, it's nice to say that. It's nice to say it. But again, when it comes time to cutting positions, we haven't done it. When it comes time to vote in favor of question 4 last November, which has a direct impact on every taxpayer in this town. Sure, they're going to put more money in the back of their pocket, right? Roll back the state income tax. We're seeing the effects of it already, as far as reimbursement levels for cities and towns and programs that are being supported by the state right now that are being cut back, and the responsibility of picking up the tab for those coming right back here to the property tax owners. What little you're going to save in your paycheck by a 1% cut rollback in your income tax is going to cost you hundreds and hundreds of dollars more in costs associated with the lack of reimbursement from the state. Yet, you support question 4, then you cry about what the state's going to do to you. You know, and then you say, oh, the poor people out there who can't afford to, pay their taxes and can't afford to save a house and the price of their gasoline, and so those are all facts of life and their reality, and that's true, and everybody's sympathetic towards that. And we're all living it, and we're all feeling it, but by the same token, we also have the responsibility to do what's most cost-effective to meet the needs of the town. And Swan Pond School, in relation to this specific question, in my mind, is it. We're worried about the people that can't afford to do that, yet we left $1.5 million to $2 million on the table. Because if the public decides to go for Swan Pond School, the level of reimbursement is going to be less. So if we're so concerned about those people, why did we take that off the table? Why didn't we leave it on it? Why didn't we let them make their choice? Let them say no again and turn the 64% down. That's gone now. And that was an action of this board, nobody else. So if we're so concerned about it, then let's put our money where our mouth is, and let's put our votes where action needs to be taken and be consistent with it. And I don't think we've been consistent. Some of us have been consistent.
Are we responsible for the Great Depression too?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
Bye. I'll move the question.
Thank you.
Jim, go ahead.
Oh, move the question. Move the question. Let's.
The motion before us is to support ballot question number 3. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
No.
The motion does not attain a majority. Mr. Rowe would have weighed in not in favor. The official vote is 2-2. Question 4. Again, this is $300,000 that was appropriated at town meeting for design plans for the middle and high school. We're all aware that the middle school was built around 1965 and has served us very, very well. And again, the school building committee at that time designed a facility which lasted us a good long time, but it now needs updating and expansion due to the increased enrollments, and again, some part of the infrastructure as far as the wiring and so on and so forth hasn't been updated since it was originally built, but the school has served us well. It's been well maintained. It's now time to address the housing needs and structural needs of the proposal itself. Same thing with the high school. We're talking about some improvements that need to be made in that particular facility also, and this is going to give us the necessary tools to determine the actual costs associated with those plans. And we're looking for $300,000. What's the pleasure of the board? Mr. Vino. Mr. Vino.
Mr. Chairman, I move to support ballot question number 4.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Scott.
Yeah, I definitely in support of this, because I believe what Mr. Bagan related to earlier. I believe that the bulge that we're all talking about is at the 3rd and 4th grade level. I believe it'll move into the middle school, then into the high school, and I'd be supportive of this particular expenditure to see just what the cost is going to be in relation to that bubble going through. So I will support the schematic design.
Any other discussion in relation to motion before us?
No, I think my position, Bill reiterated it, don't need here a third time.
Oh, okay, so motion before us is to support ballot question number 4. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Unanimous. Again, Mr. Rowe would like the public to know that he also is in support of ballot question number 4. Well, that wasn't too bad.
Question 4?
I've seen town meeting go
Okay,
faster
one.
than that.
That's right, yeah, town meeting, the budget, the budget
Town
went
meeting goes
quick.
faster than that.
$1 million.
Yeah. Okay. Old and new business. Mr. Smith, you took care of one item already.
Yeah, that was on the new growth revenues.
Right? I think you covered that.
Tom, or Mr. Younger, on Central Street, I believe it's either 48 or 68 Central Street. The name of the party is Leonard Stevens. He called about a couple of trees. I guess he had called DPW about this. 2 trees that got split in the middle during that storm. They're laying in and around the electrical wires. I don't know whose responsibility it is. He's not sure whether it's on town property or whether it's the responsibility of the electric light company, but the limbs are all busted and they're up in and around those wires. He called this tonight actually, about 6:45, to be honest with you. And the trees, I believe, are split and rotten on the inside. He thinks they're on town property. So.
What was the address here, Mr. Smith?
I think it's
52.
52?
Oh, it is 52. Okay.
Look for the signs.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're right.
Look for Billy's signs and you'll see.
But I don't know whether it's 52.
I think it's 52.
My signs are right in that area.
They didn't call them signs, did they?
The signs.
No, you'll see the, I think the big Mr. Smith, Mr. Shula, and then if you see the Murphy sign, you've gone too far.
Here's a statement I want to see in the paper.
Yeah, you've gone too far.
Back up.
Okay, fine.
Anything else? Under all the new business?
No,
Are you sure?
I'm not sure.
Are you not sure? Okay. Mr. Big.
Yeah, same instance, there's some branches down on the sidewalk. You probably know, it's the street after, you know the curve on North Street, the real sharp one?
Magnolia?
No, before Magnolia on the left.
Sunset Ave?
Lloyd Road. Lloyd Road?
Pine Ridge?
Oh,
Okay.
oh, that-
On Pine Ridge.
Oh, Pine Ridge.
And they're on and I believe that's where the kids get the bus, so you probably want to make sure those there. The only other thing is, please, everyone go out and vote next Tuesday. Exercise your options. That's it.
Mr. V. God bless you.
No, I had that prior issue under old and new business, and I think it didn't get discussed. I'm certainly not gonna open that door again.
You covered that pretty good, Joe.
Yeah, I thank you, Bill. And I would like to reiterate to everybody, please go out and exercise your option to vote in the town election.
I just have 4 matters. First of all, I did attend the ribbon cutting at the Hood School yesterday. It was a terrific ceremony, and the kids put on a great presentation, and everybody's so proud of what's transpired up there, and they have a right to be. I mean, in any construction project like that, I mean, it affects not only the students and the parents and the faculty and the administration, but they lived through it and survived it, and I think it's going to be worth the wait. And it was a terrific showing. There had to be 250 people that came, so there's an awful lot of pride in that particular area in the school and what's been done, and I think that everybody that was involved is to be congratulated, and I was happy to participate. And as I pointed out to the group there, I was the first grade in the Hood School, so it's changed a little bit since Mrs. Eisenhower headed up the school, and it's a great facility now.
What year was that?
Well, it opened in 1960.
Okay.
The other thing, I had a first-hand opportunity to deal with FEMA. And, if anybody in this community has experienced any type of property loss or damage in relation to the storms that took place, a few weeks ago, I would urge you to please call that toll-free number and get the application in. You'll be amazed at how quickly they respond. Just to let you know, I called, I was hemming and hawing as to whether or not I should or shouldn't, and I had a substantial amount of damage, like a lot of other people in town. And, gee, I called on Monday, and they said it'll be about a week before someone will get in touch with me. At 9:15 that night, someone contacted me and said I would be out tomorrow the next morning to look at the